In this passionate and candid monologue, financial educator and author Robert Kiyosaki reflects on the changing landscape of financial expertise and warns about the potential risks in today's markets. Drawing on his extensive experience, Kiyosaki discusses the dangers of blindly following conventional wisdom, the significance of understanding fundamental versus technical aspects of investing, and the looming challenges posed by factors such as inflation and government policies.
When I meet so-called financial experts today, most of them don't even remember 2008. They're so young, all they know is a bull market. All they know is that interest rates kept dropping, bond rates kept dropping, the price of stocks went up, real estate went up, everything was going up. We call it the everything bubble. Be careful of the age of the person you take advice from too. So, a bond is this, let's say if a bond is paying 10% is worth so much money. But if the interest rates, inflation goes to 20%, the value of the bond drops. And what most people do not realize, the bond market is 1,000,000 times bigger than the stock market. The point here is back when I was just starting out, very exciting times. And that's what I'm saying is how old was the advisor? But this is the other part about it is so many of these idiots out there, there's no cure for stupidity. We've seen a lot of it over our times. But this, I have the 60-40 mix. That means they have 40% this and 60% bonds, and they're operating by these formulas that worked right after 2008. This ain't 2008. The point here, ladies and gentlemen, this bond market is the biggest in the world. It is the thing that keeps this whole place floating. It's what's keeping this whole world floating. I want to go on record in Rich Dad Poor Dad, I said savers are losers. Why would you save dollars when they're printing it? Counterfeit money. It makes no sense to me. The reason dates are important is things are changing moment by moment. And the end is near. We don't know which way it's going to fall to. Give us those three things you got to look out for. One of the things I'm happy about is I'm an old man. And I meet these young, I feel for these guys. They're saying, oh, my dad gave me your book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm investing in real estate. I'm doing this. And I want to say, we've seen the euphoria, right? And in euphoric times, it's about to end. A fundamental investment, people look at a financial statement, income, expense, assets, liabilities. That's fundamentals. That's Warren Buffett's big gig. Technical, the ups and downs, basically the emotions and moods and the flows in the market. Now, the thing that's interesting is Buffett says he doesn't believe in technical analysis. And so we have my generation, we have so many people just follow, buy, hold, and pray of Buffett. Buffett's our God. And I go, are you nuts? You've got to look at advanced technicals. But anyway, that's the real market. It goes up and everything comes down. I don't recommend shorting because that is probably one of the riskier trades you can do because you're selling something. I took technical analysis and technical trading for 3 years and I realized I'm a real estate guy. Spent 3 years studying technical analysis. I'm a real estate guy.
Robert Kiyosaki sheds light on the pitfalls of relying solely on conventional wisdom and outdated formulas in the ever-changing financial landscape. His emphasis on understanding both fundamental and technical aspects of investing highlights the need for a balanced approach. Kiyosaki's wisdom serves as a reminder to stay informed and adaptable, especially during times of market euphoria.
What does a short mean? To me, that is probably as high a risk as you can take. So let's say you see Apple shares at $10 and you think, I think that's going to go to 5. So you sell 1 million shares of Apple stock at 10, hoping it goes to 5 where you'll buy it back and all this other stuff, but Apple goes to 100. So that's why you get caught with your pants down because now you have to buy the 1 million shares you sold, but at a higher price. I just don't want to paint, I'm become a shorter. I tried it, I got my ass handed to me. The point is people need to get educated, but it goes back to rule number 1, make sure somebody's got over 44 years of experience before you take advice. I hear it probably 5 times a day. Some guy or a young woman will come up and say, my dad gave me your book and I'm going long real estate. I'm going, are you shitting me? Do you know what I mean? If interest rates go up, what happens to real estate? Down, right? People say, is it recession? So we're already in a recession. Depression's coming. And that's why you mentioned 1930. What happened in 1929 was the 29 crash. How long did that last depression last? 25 years. 29 to 54. Also, you're talking about the opportunity of a lifetime.
Robert Kiyosaki's cautionary words highlight the risks and complexities of shorting stocks, using a relatable example with Apple shares. His emphasis on education and experience underscores the importance of being well informed before making investment decisions. Kiyosaki's insights into real estate and his skepticism toward blindly following trends reveal his pragmatic approach to financial matters.
And having experiences, I own several tons of gold now, and I own oil wells. And when oil went from $30 a barrel to $130 a barrel a few weeks ago, I got stimulated. I said, oh my God. The problem with oil going from 30 to 130 just temporarily was it wiped out the middle class. Inflation and food prices are going to go through the roof because natural gas and oil go hand in hand, and that's how you make fertilizer. And all these greenies want to stop all that. I'm going, are you nuts? Are you nuts? Now, what happened to most of them was when they handed up the brains, they were missing in action at that time. Anyway, the point here is this. I was just watching CNBC, I think, and they were playing the hearings with Janet Yellen, and she's a greenie. She spent all this time talking about global warming, and I'm going, what about inflation? What about the war? What about the debt? And she's now a greenie. As you said, these guys are nuts, and we're listening to them. So that's why I own gold, silver. I have some Bitcoin just to speculate into it. But you have Treasury Yellen, you have Fed, and then you have this guy Biden and Kamala, the border czar. She's never been to the border except the Ukraine. So, it can't get any stranger than this. There's tortoise and hares. Guys who are short are hares, they're rabbits. Real estate guys are tortoises, and I'm a tortoise. You must recognize your weaknesses. Yeah, I don't own stocks, but I own gold mines. You know what I mean? And I own tons of gold that I control. And I own oil wells. I don't own Exxon or BP and all that stuff. I own the oil well. I'm a hard asset guy, but I'm still the fat ass turtle walking around the place. But I got to be ahead of the curve here. And that's when the changes started, because in 1971, Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. And I was flying in Vietnam at that time as a Marine. I said, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, taking the dollar off the gold standard said money became trash. And then I'd come home and my poor dad always said to me, well, you got to go to school and save money. Oh, Jesus. I said, why am I going to listen to an old Japanese guy, my father? So I went to listen to an old Chinese guy, my rich dad. I get a little disturbed every time because it happens like 5 times a day. A young man or young woman come up to me, oh, I'm getting my real estate license. Oh, I'm buying real estate. I said, at the top of a market? You have no idea what it was like. Some of you are too young. I'd go into a Chinese restaurant and they had whiteout on all the menus. I like Chinese food. But anyway, so one day rice would be $1, next day it'd be $2. And they had to keep whiting stuff out. I'm going, holy mackerel. And then I put together, when I was flying in Vietnam, why my rich dad, who was Chinese, said, watch out, because they took the dollar off the gold standard. They're going to print money. It's called money supply, not interest rates. So they're going to try and raise interest rates to slow down the economy, and they're going to exacerbate. We're in a recession already because things are slowing. The velocity of money is slowing at high rates of speed, but also it's going to crash the economy, and we may be going into a depression. Now, oh, you're such a bad news guy. I tell you something, I learned more in the 70s than I do today, because when I was trying to put a real estate together when interest rates are 20%, you get really smart. I had to be creative and all this, still make it cash flow. So ladies and gentlemen, it's only, how creative, how smart you are in the future and how resourceful and resilient you are. Because I'm afraid we're heading into a depression. There's going to be a recession, that's a given. We're already there technically. But a depression is going to be a whole nother Megillah. And some people will be wiped out. The last depression gave us communism.
Robert Kiyosaki's candid and forthright commentary addresses the complexities of economic and financial changes, including his perspective on the implications of leaving the gold standard in 1971. He delves into the potential risks of excessive money printing, inflation, and the current political landscape. Kiyosaki's emphasis on learning from history and being resourceful highlights his concern for the future, urging individuals to be informed and prepared for potential challenges ahead.
Today, because when I was trying to put a real estate together when interest rates are 20%, you get really smart. I had to be creative and all this, still make it cash flow. So ladies and gentlemen, it's only, how creative, how smart you are in the future and how resourceful and resilient you are. Because I'm afraid we're heading into a depression. There's going to be a recession, that's a given. We're already there technically. But a depression is going to be a whole nother Megillah. And some people will be wiped out. The last depression gave us communism. And I'm afraid this guy Biden and Kamala are agents. Of who? We'll know. But anyway, and then there's always a silver lining. If China invades Taiwan, I'm a billionaire. but other people get wiped out. It's the best defense you can have against Biden, Putin, Xi, Treasury Secretary, what's her name, Janet Yellen, oh my God, and Powell. You have 3 clowns up there. And Kamala, the border czar, she hasn't been to the border. I was at the border yesterday, Mexican border. They're streaming across. They've opened the gates. Kids are making $1,000 a ride. So they rent one of these minivans. They can get 8 immigrants in. They're not from Mexico either. They're from all over the world. They load them into, I took pictures of it and it chased me away. But their high school kids are putting illegals in their vans, driving them north. So you have a crew of 8, $8,000. The rental van costs you $100. Really good stuff here. But that's Biden and Kamala. I cannot believe how crooked this country is. So I'm afraid because I saw this all happening back in the 70s when I was flying in Vietnam. And it's coming true today. What happened in 2008, that was the first big, it was a CDS, a credit default swap. Our whole market came apart. The repo market, repurchase market collapsed. The repo market collapsed in 2019 again. So we're setting it up right now. And we have 3 clowns, the 3 stooges. And people are listening to them. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. The best defense against the 3 stooges, Biden, Yellen, and Powell, Fed chairman, is educate yourself. Mm-hmm. It is the most dangerous time in world history. I've never seen it this bad. And it goes back to 1971 when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. There is more, money can only come into existence via debt. That's the treasury market, okay? That's beyond most people. And there's somebody, buy treasuries, buy treasuries, buy treasuries. They're safe. And they may be. I'm going, and I have the 60-40. I don't know what that means, but I listen to the 3 village idiots, and they go, keep the 60-40. I don't know if it's 60% stocks, 40% bonds. I don't know. I don't do any of that stuff because I had a rich dad who was Chinese. Obviously, there's always 3 sides to a coin. Heads, tails, and the edge. Rich dad stands on the edge. And that's the big thing. Another big problem coming up here is this. It's called Who Stole My Pension? My father was so proud, poor dad. He had a government pension. And that could be the worst thing you have today is a pension because there's no guarantees anything in there. Right. It's been stolen by Wall Street. That's my opinion. It's not a fact, but I can see the heist. I call it the Communist Republic of Hawaii. And we own property there. And we're talking about what happens when the government gets involved in their own property. It never turns out good. And just FYI, Hawaii has the seawater, the ocean erosion is taking down houses. And as Karl Marx said, one of the objectives of Marxism was the abolition of private property. And Hawaii is as Marxist as they get right now because if you have private property, they won't let you fix it. And the ocean will take it away. And then for the last 30 years, I've watched houses just disappear and the government will not let you fix your property. I can't believe it. So anyway, that's why I call it the People's Republic of Hawaii. Great people, beautiful place, but the government is 100% Marxist.
With a seasoned perspective, Robert Kiyosaki emphasizes the importance of education, adaptability, and informed decision-making in a world marked by financial uncertainty. He urges listeners to be cautious about taking advice from those lacking substantial experience and to stay informed about the shifting dynamics of markets, emphasizing that these skills are crucial in navigating potential economic downturns and seizing opportunities that lie ahead.